How's it going? And welcome to Two Beers with the Band podcast. You have tuned in right here to a great conversation, between Chris, the host of Two Beers with the Band podcast, and LB Beistad, who is a local Nashville artist. And this is a great conversation. However, since you are watching on YouTube, I figured I'd come in here and let you know that this is unfortunately going to be an audio-only episode. We had some technical issues with her camera, unfortunately, but you can still go ahead and check this episode out here on YouTube. However, if you want to check it out on one of the audio platforms, then you can go to Two Beers with the Band podcast website over at 2bwb.net. Or, of course, you can look up Two Beers with the Band podcast on your favorite audio-only platform. But if you want to go ahead and keep checking it out here on YouTube, I'm going to shut up. My name's Harkos, by the way. I edit everything here. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and get into this great episode. So hope you enjoy. Make sure you leave comments down below and let us know what you thought of this great episode.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Two Beers with the Band. I'm your host, Chris Schramm, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Miss LB Beistad.
Hi, Chris.
A singer, songwriter, instrumentalist based here in Nashville.
Hi, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself real quick, and then let's jump into the beer you brought.
Yeah, well, I'm born and raised Tennessean, proud of it. Raised in East Tennessee, moved here about 2.5 years ago, and I've been loving it ever since, and I'm happy to be here.
All right, 2.5 years in Nashville. That's, you've seen a lot of growth in the city.
They call it the 10-year city, so I've got 7.5 to go before something good happens.
You know what? I hear that often.
Yeah.
And until I started doing this, I had never heard that before.
Really?
And it did not make any sense to me. And I'm not in the industry, so at this point, it still really doesn't make sense to me. But if you don't mind, could you explain to the audience exactly what that means?
I'm sure it means something different for everybody, but what I've drawn from it is that it really just means you really have to put in the work day after day, 365 days a year, after failure, after rejection. And then if you just stick around and you stay consistent, usually something good will come of it. It may not look like the way you wanted it to, but usually sticking around and having consistency over time or whatever, there's something good that comes from sticking around and just not giving up.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're in your fans' face, for lack of a better term, every day if you're putting out something consistent. Mm-hmm. Videos, social media, just, whatever. If you're just writing a newsletter or an email, or if you're doing something every day, you're staying in front of fans and potential fans.
And every day you are it's how I imagine probably how it feels for actors in LA, but musicians here, you're in front of a really well-stacked talent show every day. And so it's really hard to just stand out. And so it takes time. But if you just keep at it, something good will come of it. I like to think.
Well, I mean, you got to stay positive.
Yeah, you got to stay positive. If you lose your mind.
Well, if you don't believe in yourself, how can anyone else believe in you?
Yeah, exactly. A healthy little amount of delusion goes a long way.
I think that applies to more than just music.
Exactly.
But let's go ahead and jump into this first beer. And can you tell us why you chose to bring this beer?
All right, we have Athletic Brewing Free Wave Hazy IPA. I'm currently on the non-alcoholic kick. I'm not on the sober train, but I did have a particularly terrible New Year's Eve. And so I tried dry January, and I felt really good after it. And I knew I was training for the half marathon that's at the end of April. And I just felt, after dry January, I felt really healthy and energetic, and my running was getting better and improving at a much faster rate than last year. And so I was like, let's just hold off on the alcohol until after race day. And then once I finish the race, I'm going to celebrate with a 6-pack of my favorite beer, and it'll taste even better.
What's your favorite beer?
Sweetwater Blue. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice. What about that beer do you enjoy?
Well, I love anything blueberry in general, but it's a fruity blueberry ale that's not overpowering. It's a subtle blueberry flavor, and it reminds me of spring and just being out on the lake and hanging out with friends. And is one of the first beers I realized that, like, because it took me a while to get on the beer wagon, and when I got into Sweetwater Blue, I was like, this is what beer should make you feel like.
Right.
I just feel good. I feel relaxed and just easygoing, and I love Sweetwater Blue. This podcast is not sponsored by Sweetwater Blue, by the way,
but it should be, right?
I sure wish it was.
Sweetwater, are you hearing this?
Hit a girl up.
All right, well, let's take a whiff and see what we get on this one. Okay.
I get a big old hint of, like, it smells just like I'm sniffing an orange. I'm getting real citrusy vibes.
It is very citrusy.
Yeah. I've drank this beer so many times, I don't think I've ever stopped to just smell it.
All right, well, now that you've smelled the citrus and the orange, what do you think it should taste like?
I think it should taste like a damn orange grove.
All right, well, let's get into it, see what you think.
It smells super orangey, surprisingly not tasting super orangey.
Right. I'm getting a little citrus up front. And the citrus is an orange or a tangerine dominant. But I am getting the dankness on the back.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, for this to be a non-alcoholic beer, I think it really captures the flavor of an IPA really well.
It actually does. A lot better than I remember. And I think what it is I'm trying to give NA beers a little bit more of a chance because they're so popular right now. And I think I've approached NA beers in the past the same way a lot of people do, and they say this is just not real beer. And that's not fair.
Granted, there are a lot of really bad ones.
Yes, there are. And I've had more than my fair share of both.
Bush NA is awful.
I actually didn't know that was even a thing until I saw it today, and I was like, come on, you just stop. Just stop.
Just drink water.
It just can't get any worse for you guys. So, I mean, but I guess, they're throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks nowadays.
Surprisingly, for some people, it's Bush NA. It won't be for me, but...
well, you know what? Hey, long as they're happy.
Exactly,
and that's all that matters.
It's all subjective.
It is. Even just because I don't like it doesn't mean that someone else doesn't like it.
Amen.
All right. So what's been going on? You've been extremely busy here lately.
Yeah. Honestly, the ball's kind of been continuously rolling ever since I moved here. It's not really stopped, which I'm very grateful for. It's just, I don't think I was expecting that when I moved here. I thought it would be, like, really slow to find, like, my community of people or, like, fellow musicians or whatever, but this city kind of welcomed me with open arms, and I am very, very like moving here was probably one of the best decisions of my life so far. It may look different in a year, but right now, I'm very happy to be here.
Well, if you can say after 2 years that you're very happy to be here and that you found community in Nashville, that's got to mean something. Because I think a lot of artists, again, as a consumer, I'm not an artist, but I think a lot of artists outside of Nashville look at Nashville and say, oh, it's only country music. Oh, I wouldn't be accepted there because my sound is different. Because the indie scene in Nashville is not front and center like it should be.
Right.
There's a huge indie scene here of musicians for alt rock.
There's some great hip hop artists here
Yes,
too.
there are.
Yeah.
And there's so many jazz musicians.
Yeah.
And just so, if you can think of it, there are artists here that do it.
Yeah.
Electronic,
it takes a little bit of digging sometimes, but like PSA, if you don't think you're welcome in Nashville just because you don't play country, please move here. Please. There is something for everybody, I promise you.
I agree. And I wish it was more well known that Nashville's called Music City for a reason. It's not called Country Music City.
Yeah.
It's called Music City. But the media is so focused on the country part of it. And all the little bars and stuff downtown that carry the country name. And when you go in, all you're getting is covers of country.
Yeah.
Or you're getting, new country. But there's more to it. And there are so many other venues in this town that play indie music, alt music. It's just whoever can show up and put on a show and bring in a crowd. They don't care what you're playing. Hey, get up there and do your thing.
Yeah.
And I think that is a beautiful thing, that there is community and venues in this town where people can go play their music, even if it doesn't fit in a box.
And also, like, even outside of venues, there's so many house shows and just people playing at each other's houses and jamming and stuff. It doesn't even, if you want to find your community of artists or whatever, like, it doesn't even have to be confined to the venues. Like, music is everywhere here, and you can just jump in any corner you want if you can find it. And so it's like, it's really, I don't want to sound cheesy, but it's also kind of really freeing sometimes when you can just play music with people outside of a venue setting and just have fun. Like, because I'm really happy to have the band members that I have, because every time we meet for practice, it's just like a really fun hang. But we happen to be playing music and practicing the set at the same time. But it's just fun. Nashville's just fun.
I agree.
Are you born and raised here?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So I have seen the major change in this city, both musically and just, everything. This city is growing absolutely out of control.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not a fan. I don't care for it. I think we're losing a lot of what Nashville was and what made it beautiful, because they're knocking that down and putting condos up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty, but
the tall skinnies.
Yeah. Don't even get me started.
We can go down that rabbit hole if you want.
I personally think they're hideous to look at.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why you would pay $500,000, $1 million for a home that has 5 floors, but when you walk into the kitchen, pretty much kitchen is your first floor. Or you paid $750,000 for a house that 4 of you share a driveway.
Yeah.
No. I need my own driveway. I have several vehicles. I need my own garage.
Yeah, why is this duplex $900K? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it says 2-car garage, but I can't even get my truck in there, much less 2 trucks. Okay, but
I'm from a very small town in East Tennessee, and just like going from there to here and just seeing the housing price differences is mind-numbing.
Oh, but what my house is worth now compared to what I paid for it is awesome.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I was to sell, I can't live in this county.
No, you can't. You can't. You still can't buy another house.
I mean, I could put a hell of a down payment on a house.
Yeah,
but I don't want another mortgage because I paid this one off. And buddy, I'm telling you, that is freeing.
Yeah. I bet that feels awesome.
But, Murphy steps in. It's like, I appreciate you paying that off. I got a few things I need to do real quick. So now all that extra money I thought I was saving mortgage payment, no, it's already got places to go. So as of now, that I'm not saving anything. But speaking of houses, I did not even know house shows were a thing until I started doing this podcast.
Really?
And
it's really big in the indie scene specifically.
And that I've heard so much about house shows, and each artist has a little bit different take on house shows. So you've already mentioned what a house show is to you, but if you were going to promote a house show, or if you were doing a house show at your home, what would you want?
If I was hosting a house show at my home?
Yeah.
Well, they're starting to get better, but never expect good sound equipment. Never expect to hear yourself is one thing. Specifically if you're playing with a band. So I would literally, the only thing that I would change is I would have like a solid monitor system so bands could hear themselves, because you're working with the space that you have, and it's literally you're playing in someone's like living room or basement. So it's not like it can be the 5 spots sound check or anything, because also at house shows, there's like 10, 12 bands sometimes playing at a time. So the turnaround is super quick. So you don't really get sound checks anyway. But just better sound. If there could be like some sort of universal in-ears monitor that everyone could share to make the experience a little bit better from the playing side of things, that's what I would do. But besides that, I really like the DIY, working with what you got mentality of house shows, because sometimes having to work just in this very specific space can create really fun performances or moments that sometimes you wouldn't get on a stage or something. Well,
you're playing in front of diehard fans. You're playing in front of...
And you literally are you're like face to face. Like they're standing just inches from you. It's like, it's very intimate and really, it's a lot of fun. I like it a lot.
Just kind of go in, we're going to play something and see what happens. And
yeah. Sometimes it's terrible, but I like to see the bright side in everything a lot of the time. So even when it's bad, I get something out of it. It may not occur to me at that time what I've got out of it, but I do at least get something out of crappy performances too.
Well, everybody's got to learn. Yeah. Everybody's got to practice.
Ups and downs, highs and lows.
Yeah, and what better way to practice or to bring a new song to, let's not say the masses, but to kind of introduce it. Mm-hmm. Why not do it at a house show?
That is usually where I do start playing new stuff. I usually will gauge how people react to it at house shows and stuff. Because also they're listening. Because, I mean, everyone's packed in this basement like sardines. Sometimes when you're playing out at a venue, if there's a bunch of people on the bill or whatever, or a lot of people came to specifically see one person, sometimes no one's really listening. But at house shows, it's impossible not to listen because you're just packed together.
Well, it seems like everyone that's there is either a musician associated with a musician or a diehard fan of someone who is playing.
Yeah, it usually is like all the diehards in just one spot, and it's really fun. So if you can find a house show to go to, I really suggest going.
I would like to check it out just to see what, not necessarily what the vibe is, but to see the community at a house show. And I think that's one thing that the people I've talked to, they say they found community in Nashville, but they say house shows really just dials that down. And they've met other bands, other instrumentalists that they've worked with or wanted to work with, or it's like, hey man, let's try to get on the bill somewhere. I like what you play. I think my fans would enjoy your music. Let's put something together and go somewhere and announce it and see who shows up, see how it works out. Yeah. And you can just kind of build up your base of other bands that'll have you on, and you have them on. That increases your exposure.
Yeah, that's how I met a lot of the first musicians and stuff that I have grown to like have bills and stuff with. Like that's where I ended up meeting a lot of my first acquaintances and friends when I moved here. It's just I happened to find house shows, and it's like it, especially when you first move here. If you like, when you first move here, like there's places like the Gunk House, the Peach House. I'm trying to think of other specific ones. Sometimes it's just one-off. There used to be the Birthday House, but they just recently closed. But they're also like all on Instagram too. So if you want to find house shows when you first move here and stuff, it's like the best way to meet like diehard musicians and artists and just people that you can connect with and become friends with. It's a great energy.
Well, I mean, that's good. That's what you need. That's what you need from your audience, and that's what an audience needs from an entertainer is good energy, positive energy, because I know as a consumer, if I'm not getting positive vibes from an artist, especially an artist I've never seen before, heard before, like you said, I'm there to see somebody else.
Yeah.
But I happen to hear you, and I'm going to pay attention. Well, if you're giving me the good vibes, I might check you out a little bit further on down the road. But if you're just kind of up there, well, I'm here, might as well play something. Just kind of like that, and you're not really,
just phoning it in.
Yeah. If you got sad songs, I don't expect you to be jumping around on stage. But if you got a happy, upbeat song, I don't expect you just kind of be standing there in front of the mic just looking over here like, well, let me go ahead and sing this, and I got two more, and then I can go have a beer somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Next, I don't make sure and not check you out, and you might show up in a playlist, but I'm not really going to pay attention.
I think one reason I do keep a positive attitude about everything, because I know like this city can give you plenty of reasons not to have a positive attitude, but I like to turn everything I do here kind of into a game, and I kind of like to like gamify every gig. So it's like every gig is an opportunity to win somebody over. So that can kind of like give me, I like challenges. So if I go in with a mindset, even if I'm in a terrible mood or I've had a bad day or I'm just not feeling like playing, if I like tell myself, okay, you just got to win over one person, it helps me play better.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good tool to use, is just to challenge yourself. Like, even if you're like having a terrible day, play good out of spite of yourself. Like, show yourself.
Well,
stick it to yourself.
As a consumer, I understand people have bad days, but if I'm there to watch a show, and maybe I'm an existing fan, but I've never seen you live, but I've watched your videos on YouTube, I've downloaded your music, I go to see you at a show, and you just, like you say, you're just phoning it in. Well, I'll get that energy from you, and when I leave, I may just delete,
Yeah.
and just be done with you.
I've been to shows of people I admire, and it's like they were having an off day or something. And granted, sometimes shit happens, and I mean, like, sometimes, like, I don't know what's going on in their lives or anything, but also it's just like a bummer that you paid the money to see the artist. Like, for this one, I traveled like an hour and a half, and it's just like, man, you really don't want to be on the stage right now, do you? Like, this sucks.
Yeah, well, I've watched big bands. I'm talking about nationwide, signed to the label, big tour bands. And I've seen them come through Nashville and play festivals and things like that, which I love so much. And I'm not going to name the band, but there's a band that when I saw them on the bill for the event, I was going to be there anyway, but that made me even more pumped to go to the event. And then when they got on stage, I just quit everything and put 100% on them. And 4 songs in, I was done with it.
Yeah. And it can ruin like your whole just view of them for the rest of your life. It sucks.
And it did. I still listen to their music, but if they're coming out with something new, or hey, our new video's dropping, blah, 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 I don't care. I mean, your song, yeah, I'll listen to it because it's on the radio.
You can destroy the hype.
I mean, it did. And is that fair to the band? I don't know, but
I mean, they can't help how they feel, and you can't help how you feel. So.
Right. Well, one of my main job, it doesn't matter what kind of day I'm having.
You got to be on it.
I have to do what I have to do. And there's no, I'm having a bad day, so I'm going to phone it in. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And I think as an entertainer, yes, mental health is a huge thing in music, in entertainment. I understand that. But I'm going to need you to get it together for 45 minutes, for 2 hours, for 3 hours. Maybe I'm asking a lot, but as a consumer, I'm paying hard-earned money to come see you, to have you take me out of my headspace.
Yeah.
Put me somewhere else.
Yeah, like, that is the job.
Right. Right. I mean, that's why I'm paying you money. Also, I'm paying your salary.
And
so
also
do
at
the work.
End of the day, like, this is a very cool, fun thing that artists of all types get to do. So sometimes I just don't understand. Like, I mean, I've definitely not been to huge heights or anything, but I can't imagine. I'm probably going to be putting my foot in my mouth. I can't imagine getting to where I've always dreamed of and then complaining about it.
Well, where do you dream on going? Dream of being?
In my brain, like growing up, I watched SNL all the time, and in my mind, it was like if you got to play SNL, that was like it. I don't know why, because I mean, like you could win Grammys and stuff, but like being on the SNL stage, that was always like a big moment to me, mainly because that's what introduced me to so much of the music outside of my environment. Because I was raised, like I said, I was raised in a really small town in East Tennessee, so I was around pretty much solely country, apart from my dad, who showed me like alternative rock and stuff. But when it came to like up and coming new music, that's where I got all my new music, was watching SNL every weekend. And so I think I would just want to, on my bucket list, I want to play SNL eventually, but also long term, I would like to have my music in video games. I'm a video game journalist by day, so like I want to bring gaming and music together in some sort of capacity. I don't know what that would look like, but
well, your music doesn't really fit in a box. It doesn't, at least what I've been able to find, there's no real genre for your music. So
I take that as a great compliment.
Why couldn't we put your music in a video game? But I say that to say this. What kind of playlist are you going to be found on organically? Because I don't think anybody, at least what I've read, has labeled your music a certain genre. So what would you say so that someone could look you up and maybe do a playlist?
But still it's not super accurate. The only times, it was some blog, I can't remember what it was, sorry, blog, but they described it as cosmic Americana, which still isn't super accurate because there is like more poppy stuff, and then there's stuff that's like more country and that go into like that cosmic Americana type of label.
I think the beats and the bass line might be where they're getting the cosmic.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah.
I have to kind of look at it a little sideways, but I can see it. I mean, you got to have a label to be on a playlist. Otherwise, where are they going to put you? And that's what's not fair about the industry, because there's so many artists out there that hate genre and hate labels, because it almost seems like they're stifling your creativity to certain things, and you can only play and sing certain things because you got to fit in that box.
I'm definitely afraid of being put in boxes, and because sometimes putting limits on yourself in some ways can actually force you to be more creative in other ways. So I understand why sticking to one specific genre is beneficial in certain ways, but that's not exactly the way I write. Like sometimes I'll sit down, not even really having the intention to write. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes I can't get anything done that day. Sometimes I end up with the full song in like 10 minutes. It's just a crapshoot. So I'm not good at sitting down with the full intention of writing a specific way about a certain thing. It's just like it's just word vomit. It's like whatever comes to me in that moment will, or it won't. But it's, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's just
So someone couldn't come to you and say, I'm going to pay you a certain amount a year, and you're going to have to go to a certain number of writing sessions that have to be a certain length, and we expect this many songs.
They could, but whether it's good or not is the question, which once again is subjective. But my general rule is if I wouldn't listen to, like, even if I've spent 2 weeks working on like writing a song or whatever, my general rule is I'll sit with it for a little bit. And if I wouldn't listen to it, then I don't release it. So I could sit down and write some sort of country ballad or like a pop song or something, but I would feel really gross about myself because I knew it wouldn't be something that I felt compelled to write.
Well, how many unfinished songs do you have in your catalog?
A lot. Sometimes I'll just even have like, I think it was David Lynch who said, any idea that pops into your brain, just like write it down. And so sometimes like my notes app on my phone is just filled with random phrases that I just like the way that they sound together. And there have been times when I've just been like fiddling with like a riff on the guitar, or I've been messing with like my synth or something, and I'll go back to my notes app, and something that I've written down like maybe like a year ago can finally start, like it fits the bill for like, oh, here's a puzzle piece that fits to this, but I didn't know it at the time. And it's just like over time, sometimes putting these little puzzle pieces together, and it can all just be, sometimes it just begins from like a little phrase or just like a little riff or something, and then you can build something bigger out of that. You don't know when it'll happen, but it might happen. Sounds very woo-woo, and I don't mean it to, but...
Well, a lot of artists say the same thing. And the reason I ask about the unfinished music is because I don't think I've ever talked to an artist that says, oh, no, everything I've started, I've finished, and it's out there.
And it goes for everything, like... stuff like I like to write a lot in my spare time, just like short stories and stuff. I mean, like I have so many unfinished stories, I have so many unfinished drawings. Like it's actually finishing something is very rare. It may not be like that for everybody, but it is for me.
You said you write stories and you do drawings. Where can we see these?
Oh, well, I do have a Substack where that's not really like short stories, but it's more just like my rantings. And I'll post like my artwork on my Instagram sometimes. I've been working on collecting some of the stuff that I've done over a few years, and I think I'm going to start selling it as merch and stuff too at shows. If anyone out there likes video games, I write for Game Rant, so you can find all my stuff about video games on that website.
Well, why don't we have a small book of stories from you?
Because so many of them aren't finished. I'm working on it.
Okay, all right. So...
That's much harder to do than write a song.
Well, how long is a short story?
I mean, it could literally be like 20 pages. It's just harder. I think it's hard to write a good story is the problem. I think it is.
Well, if you can write a good song, don't you think you can write a good story?
No.
No?
I don't. I don't think it translates that well.
Well, at least you're honest, and
yeah,
at least you're attempting.
Yeah. Like I'm flexing those muscles, but I mean, there's other things to consider about like I argue it's far more structured and like you have to make this plot have some sort of satisfying outcome or unsatisfying outcome depending on like what genre you're wanting to do, and like character development is terrifying. You don't have to worry about, well, unless you're writing some like sort of sad country ballad or something. None of my songs exactly have some sort of arcing character development. See, the problem, like I want to write, if I'm going to write a story, I want the characters to be really strong and compelling and be really three-dimensional, and that is so much harder to do. That's the trick.
Well, it sounds like if you're going to spend that much time in character development, that should be a little bit longer story.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to put that much effort into 2, 3, 4 plus characters, that's going to take a while to build that up and to create a mental picture for the consumer. Because you'll have to translate all of that setting, clothes, if housing, cars, transportation, cities, country, whatever. I mean, that
you have to build a whole world.
yeah. And I've said this before, my mind works in pictures. So when I hear music, I create my own music video in my head based off what I hear the artist say. And a lot of music that artists put out, to them, it means something. Mm-hmm. There's a reason they're giving this song to the world. But I, as a consumer, might not get that just based off the song. But after I read an interview, hear an interview, or I watch a music video, if a music video's been done, and that music video is not one of these high production $10,000, $12,000 videos. It's, hey man, you're a videographer. Can I give you a couple of $100? You grab a camera and we go out here and I have an idea. And I would like you to translate this for me. That type of music video really helps me understand a song, especially if the lyrics just don't make sense to me. And then when I hear that song again, well, now it makes sense. Well, now I'm starting to enjoy the song a lot more. So that's where video, especially video, really helps musicians, I think.
I love music videos so much. Like growing up, before I would go to school and stuff, it was VH1 would play like this huge like 2-hour block of just music videos, but it was like specifically alternative music. And then also MTV and MTV2 would have music videos going on before school, and it was the best. I miss music. I miss the constant cycle you could have of music videos.
Yeah. Well, it used to be such a massive industry in and of itself. And there were CMT, MTV, that at one time, that's all they did. 24/7 music videos, not these little shows and all the stuff that made me dislike watching music video channels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It just became reality show central, and it was.
And I think, I'm not going to say that hurt the industry, because, I mean, the music industry as a whole, doesn't matter what genre, is just a beast because of social media and because there are so many different avenues to get music out there. And with cell phones, portable speakers, all the little earbuds, if you choose to, you can have music
24/7.
24/7. And the industry has become a behemoth based off that.
Yeah. And as like any type of artist, it's now both the easiest and it's like this weird paradox where it's the easiest and hardest it's ever been to like really reach people, because you're fighting against the big bad algorithm and trying to find your niche, and then sometimes you're just throwing crap out of a wall and seeing what sticks, and sometimes you put a lot of work into something and you post it on TikTok or Instagram being like, oh, this is going to be the one, this is going to pop off, and it's like you get 3 likes. It's a constant struggle, but also it's so weird because I mean it's nice that the gatekeepers are no longer there, but at the same time now the public is the true gatekeepers, and you really have to prove like why you should be listening to me, and sometimes it's really hard to get people to listen, and so it's just like it's a very strange time.
Well, why should I listen to you?
Why should oh God, that's a good question.
When I listen to your music, what should I feel? What should I think?
I think you should feel that I'm honest, and you can hopefully feel that I'm truly creating for the right reasons, and I just want to reach people through one of the greatest forms of art that exists. I just want to, like, I don't know how to explain it. I just want to do good by the fact that music exists.
You want to do good by your songs.
Yeah, I want to honor the whole concept of music. Like, I want to create something just worthwhile. And it's great and very strange and cool that you can create something that has never existed before. And like, you kind of get to be like a little god in a type of way. You're creating something that's just never existed before, and I get very excited about that every time, whether it be music or drawing or something. Even if I don't like it, it's just cool that I made something, and I hope you can feel some of that passion through it. I don't know.
Well, do you think your fans are feeling the way you want them to feel? Do you get any kind of messages, any kind of reaction from your fan base that lets you know you have accomplished your mission?
I do get, whenever, the one comment that I do get often is people seem to really enjoy my voice, which I really appreciate it because it took me a long time to be comfortable hearing my voice. And they also seem to resonate with my writing, which I really appreciate, because I know, like, I can be a little bit, it's because of the music I gravitate towards, but I can be a little bit really deeply metaphorical in a way that sometimes doesn't make sense at first, and sometimes you have to do a lot of digging to get to the meaning of the song, because I don't like spoon feeding, and I don't like spoon feeding the audience, and I don't like when I'm spoon fed by music about like the initial meaning. And so when people get something out of it, even if it's not the same exact meaning that I wrote about, I feel like I've done my job.
Well, it means something to them.
Yeah.
So you have done your job.
Yeah. And I don't like talking about specific meanings of songs, because it's like, I don't want to tell you what to get out of the song. Like, if what you've gathered from this song has a completely different meaning to you, at the end of the day, I just want you to get what you got out of it. It doesn't have to be what my feelings were when I was writing the songs, because I already got that. I've already put it out into the world, and I've already got what I needed out of it. And so just anytime someone resonates with the lyrics in a way that's like meaningful to them, I know I'm definitely not unique in that meaning a lot to me, but it's just it's a very cool thing when someone says something nice about things you've made.
Okay. All right. Well, looks like we're both ready for another beer.
Going to Sierra Nevada.
Yeah. A little Trail Pass IPA, little NA action from Sierra Nevada. Kind of have high hopes for this.
I remember this one being good. I usually gravitate towards athletic, but I remember this being good.
All right, as far as an aroma, what did you get off this
one's
beer?
Definitely way more dank.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. They don't even smell similar.
No, not at all. I am not really getting a citrus note off this at all. Okay. I'm looking for it, but I think as far as citrus, that to me just smells like wet fruit.
It doesn't smell great. Fruit.
It does. It smells like wet fruit.
Yeah. Ready to try it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you want to know?
Yeah, I'm willing to give it a
Here we
shot.
go.
Let's go. Wow, that is dank. That is.
Having these side by side is wild. Because they're both IPAs.
Yeah.
And in the past, when I've had this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's solid. But having it compared to this, I'm like, that
is a very, very malty.
It's not horrible, but I mean, it's interesting.
Well, it is interesting, but I'll be honest with you, that's the last one I'm going to have.
Yeah.
I'm not... Man, this beer let me down.
Derek's over here offering you another one.
Actually, I have this other... Once we finish this, if you want to, do you want to try the other Sierra Nevada?
Yes, please. That's a hazy one, right?
Yes. Hopefully...
I don't think I've tried the hazy.
Hopefully that one's going to deliver a little bit better.
Thank you.
There's one thing I've been taught from an early age when it comes to drinking. Mm-hmm. Always have backup beer.
Amen.
Always have backup beer,
especially
if you're going to be trying beer you've never had before.
That's right.
Let's hope this
Pro
works.
tip. When I first moved here, my first job was at Tennessee Brew Works. And I worked back in like the packaging and stuff. Actually, I probably shouldn't be saying this. But sometimes we would get to take home like all like the half-filled cans and stuff that didn't fill up properly in the machine and stuff. So I didn't have to pay for beer for like 6 months. It was awesome.
Talk about a work perk.
That work-life balance.
Golly. I had to bring more free beer home.
But I eventually had to quit, though, because I was like, okay, I've been drinking way too much beer. This is awful.
Just smelling the beer.
I was like, oh, man. I have to. This is not good for my health.
I have to dial back on good free beer.
There's this place I love up in Kentucky. It's called Ponderosa Pines. And they have, it's like way back in the sticks in East Kentucky, middle of nowhere. But they have a beer tap on the wall. and it's just they replace the keg whenever it's empty, and just everyone can just come by and pour it. And I've had many bad night there because it's just free beer flowing from the wall.
Free beer from the wall.
It's fantastic.
Sounds like a song.
Free beer flowing from the wall. There we go. Write that one down.
That could be a short story.
Yeah.
That could even be a drawing.
I could.
You could draw the wall.
I could draw the wall. I could definitely write about what I remember from my time there.
And you could also write about what you don't remember.
Exactly.
And have that be...
Fill in the blanks.
Yeah, have that be the hook
what
in the
did
song.
Happen?
Right. This is what I do remember, but this is what I don't remember. And you've already got my attention. Especially if you put that in a song, because I'm going to be like, oh, this song could go two different ways.
Yeah.
Which way do I want this song to go? Which way does she want this song to go? So now I'm going to have to wait on the music video.
Exactly.
God, to be set
Keep
straight.
you coming back for more.
I like it. You definitely need to do that.
Free beer flowing from the wall. I'm going to write it down on my little notepad right here. Free beer. This little notepad you've given me is very nifty, though. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
My notepad.
Flowing from the wall. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to knock this one out kind of quick. And
this isn't doing it.
I have high hopes for that one. And if this one lets me down, no, it's not. It
won't let you down.
No.
We got to be positive here, Chris.
Right. It's going to be a good beer. I'm going to enjoy it. And if I don't, we'll have to go back to the athletic.
I have a question for you.
Sure. Hit me.
Since you were born and raised in Nashville, were you just automatically always into music, or was there like a specific instance where you were like, oh man? Because I find it really fascinating, people who were born and raised here, because one of my coworkers at Tennessee Brew Works is a local, and it was just like, he's like really unfazed by live music, and just like, he loves music, but it's just like it's just like a thing to him. And he was just like really, when he went to a city outside of Nashville for the first time, he was just like, it's so quiet here. Where's all the music? It's like, why is there no music anywhere? So I'm just really interested in people who like grew up here.
I've always loved music as long as I can remember. I was raised on different genres of music. So back then you only had 6 presets on your car radio. Yeah. So of course all 6 of mine were completely different. So commercial comes on, I'd automatically just hit another button. So I'm listening to all these different genres. And then within those genres, you would have subgenres. So to me, a song needs to tell a story. Well, it doesn't have to tell a story, but the songs that tell stories seem to capture my attention. And even songs or genres of music that don't lean on storytelling, I would listen to those songs and try to figure something out. Like I said, when I hear a song, I'm creating a music video in my head for that song. So I need that song to kind of give me a base to start with. And I've been able to find that in pretty much anything I listen to. And that makes me enjoy music even more.
Oh, that's great.
And honestly, if I sit and watch TV for 3 hours straight, 3.5 hours straight, okay, if I sit and watch 2 NFL football games back to back, and I do not get up off the bar stool or off the couch, by the end of that second game, I have a headache. from staring at the TV. And I've been that way as long as I can remember. But you can turn the radio on.
Yeah.
And I can listen all day and listen all night. No headache. Yeah. And I enjoy music. I've always had a desire to listen to music.
Okay.
There's a song in my head 24/7. And sometimes that aggravates me to death, especially if I just heard it and I don't know the entire song. My brain will keep repeating.
It's just a little loop of the part.
Yeah, and it just drives me crazy. I've had to get up at night and turn the radio on and let 2 or 3 songs play.
Oh, interesting.
To change the jukebox in my head. It's like you have to go up and kick the jukebox.
Yeah.
The needle keeps skipping on the record
Yeah.
and you're only getting that one little piece. Well, I need a song to kick that jukebox and get it rolling again.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's a curse. It's not a blessing. Trust me. But I appreciate live music. I love live music. I could go to a bar, and if the band's up there doing some original stuff as well as covers, as long as they're putting on a show, as long as I have money in my pocket for beer, I'm staying.
Yeah.
As long as I can halfway figure out how to get an Uber and get home, I'm staying.
You're good to go.
Yeah. It would be a curse if I had to leave Nashville and move to a city where there was very little or no live music.
It would, like, now that I've lived here and I've experienced it, like, I can't imagine not having music all the time. Like, it feels, I could imagine moving from here feels empty for a while, unless you, like, find, like, the music scene somewhere else or something. Or you move to, like, another big city like Chicago or New York or LA or something. But there's so much happening here all the time.
Well, you can find music anywhere. I mean, anywhere.
Literally 24/7.
I heard a national comedian the other day. I went to a comedy show, and
was it for Comedy Fest or whatever it was?
It was the end
yeah.
of, I think it's called Comedy Fest,
yeah,
Nashville
Comedy Festival or Comedy Week or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that I dropped the ball on that, but yes,
we both did.
Nashville has a week of all kinds of comedians come to town. For lack of a better term, indie comedians up to, your
There's some pretty big names.
I think, yeah.
Wasn't like Nikki Glazer was there this year or last year or something. Wanda Sykes was there this year. There's some pretty big people that come through too. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, our venues, our comedy venues are just like our music venues. They're all about this big.
Yeah.
And they pack as many people as possible into that space.
Shout out to Zane's.
But you always have a good time. And the food's not bad either.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never ordered food from there.
Well, you definitely... the
bucket list.
Well, I think they call it the cheese and chicken. It's chicken tenders and cheese sticks in one basket. It's like that in a beer. Yes.
Perfection.
Yes. I'm going to start with that and just keep both of those things coming when I empty them out. But one of the comedians got up there and he was talking about, I've never been to a city where every hotel I walk into has a room where musicians are playing.
Yeah.
24/7. I've stumbled in at 3:30 in the morning. There's somebody playing music.
Yeah.
I've walked out at 8 o'clock in the morning to go get coffee, and there's somebody playing music. He's like, it is everywhere.
24/7.
You
baby.
walk out on the street, walk out of the hotel onto the street, and there's people outside playing music. He's like, I can't get away from it. And I'm thinking to myself, that's a great thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love it. For me, that is awesome.
That's what fascinates me though about the locals that are born and raised here too, because like you'd think theoretically though, you might be an outlier, I'm not positive, but you would think that like it would just be like an everyday old thing and you don't really think about it.
Well, if I have something going on, something's on my mind, I'll still hear the music, but I may not pay attention.
Yeah.
But if I'm just enjoying the day, or I'm walking from this place to this place, not, I'm leaving here to go get a bite to eat and then come back here, nothing really crazy going on. And I hear an artist, or I walk past a bar or even a hotel and I hear music, I'll go in and check it out if I got time.
That's awesome.
You'd be surprised how many people in this town I've been to, and this is my absolute most favorite thing to do in the world, is go to a beer festival, especially brew at the zoo.
Yeah.
God, I love it. Animals and beer.
Hell yeah.
Like two of my favorite things, well, three of my favorite things, animal, beer, and music.
My husband's Christmas present for me last year, he got me a year of membership to the zoo, and we're about to activate that, so zoo year round. Our zoo is great, by the way.
Yes, it is, and it's ever expanding. Mm-hmm. They have so much property that you don't even know about.
Yeah.
That they've already made plans for.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, and they have like little mini bars every few feet.
Oh, well, the brew at the zoo.
I've not been to that yet.
You have got to go.
I know.
It is so awesome.
It was like just a few weeks ago, right?
No, they haven't done it yet.
Oh.
There's another thing, Sips for Species.
I think that may have been it.
That's
Something
I think that might be coming up, but okay. I think Brew at the Zoo is a little bit later on in the year. I really enjoyed that because there's breweries that you can't get their beer in Nashville, but when you talk to the reps pouring the beer, they say, we're testing this market. What do you think? Oh, well, you got 4 beers here, so I'm going to post up and try all 4.
Don't mind if I do.
But I'm not going to do that because there's usually a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try this one. So when you see this pretty face again, I'm going to try that one and just keep it going till
hit me up.
Yeah. But you have these, not even stages. They're just kind of like little risers. And an artist will be sitting up on a chair on this little riser just playing. Mm-hmm. Not really a set list. There's maybe a few people sitting around paying attention, but a majority of the time it's just background noise is basically what they're being paid for.
Yeah, they're a radio.
Yeah, but if you listen to those artists, sometimes you'll hear people, it's like, man, why am I not hearing you on the radio? Why have I never heard you before?
Because everyone here's good.
And one young lady said that. She said, because I'm not near as good as people. And I said, I've heard you play a few songs and I enjoyed them. And it's just you and a guitar. I could not imagine that song with any sort of production. I mean, just even if it's just people sitting around, it's like, hey man, I think I can throw some keys or some drums, something with that. Or this guy over here is like, yeah, I dabble in production, so I like your sound, let's see what I can do, and put you something together. Yeah. Bam, next thing you know, it's Nashville. That's the way things work around here.
It's all just so random too. Like, it's the one thing, the one good thing about Nashville that is really reassuring is like, because there's so many fantastic, amazing, talented people here, you at least have the reassurance of knowing you're not like, the reason you're not like super famous or anything is definitely not because you don't have the talent, because everyone here has the talent. So that's like a weird like silver lining, even if maybe you're not getting the size gigs that you want or anything, or you think you should be further along than you actually are, but like everyone here is good.
Well, if each time you put out a music video or each time you put out a new song, if you give it a certain amount of days and you've picked up a new subscriber, a new follower, you know, whatever the case may be, or you check the song out and views or listens, you're adding 1 or 2 or maybe 3 or 4 every day or every couple of days. I mean, that's forward momentum.
Yeah.
And I would think that even a starving artist would see that as forward momentum, and maybe even a driver to go out there and produce more music.
Yeah. And also, like, back to the social media thing, sometimes you can get like really disheartened when you see these like TikToks or something that have got like thousands, millions of views and likes and stuff, and then you post something that you think is really good and it gets like 30 likes. But like, if you think about it in like a real world context, if you were walking down the street and 30 people told you they liked your shirt, that would be a pretty good day.
Yeah.
So just like, if you keep putting these things in like real world context, it makes you, it really does help. Like, because it's still 30 people might not be a million people, but it's 30 people solid.
Well, do you think if more indie artists had that mindset that it would help things? I mean, you're in the middle of it, so you get to hear and see what other indie artists are seeing, thinking, talking about what they're going to do next, what they've done that worked, what they've done that failed, that they wish they could take back.
Yeah.
And I think there are no fails as long as you fail forward.
Yeah. Like, it's like that thinking's definitely helped me, because I used to really not be like that, and I used to get really down on myself about social media and everything. And now I've started to really, within the past year, I've embraced it a lot more, and just realizing that it's some days it's like, some days you're going to get chosen, some days you're not, by that almighty algorithm or whatever. And but it really helped when I was recording with my producer last year, and I was kind of being all woe is me about the social media stuff, and I was just kind of being negative throughout the session. And he stopped and he looked at me, and he's become a great friend too. And so he stopped and he just looked at me and he's like, if you don't make it, what are you going to do? Quit? And I mean, my answer was immediately no. So I was like, why do I need to care so much about this? Like, it'd be great if, you know, had like a marquee and lights or whatever. But I'm doing this because I love it. So, I mean, if people like it, that's fantastic. And if people don't, then that's okay too. I'm having fun. And I'm making things I'm proud of. So,
Well, that's all that matters, I think, at the end of the day. Because what I'm doing right here, right now, is costing me money.
Yeah.
I am definitely not making any money doing it, but I enjoy talking to artists. I enjoy talking about things that maybe they wouldn't talk about in other settings. And I enjoy learning. I learn something new every time I do this. And I'm learning more and more about these house parties.
Yeah.
And more about different communities within the music scene that I've lived here forever, and I had no idea these genres and sub-genres, hard word for me, were here in Nashville, and how common these things are.
Yeah.
Because the country music scene just overpowers everything.
It's a juggernaut of a thing.
But if you know where to go,
Yeah.
you go on the outskirts, there's a whole different community out there that's probably a lot more tight-knit than the juggernaut country downtown.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
they have to fill seats. They have to sell tickets. True, you have to do the same thing, but at the same time, seems like indie artists do this out of love for the art or love of music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you said, even if you don't sell 10,000 tickets, if you sold 30 tickets to a show,
Mm-hmm.
and you had 30 people show up and watch you, you're probably going to make 1 or 2 new fans
Yeah.
out of those 30 people. And if they really like you, they're going to share your music organically. So you're building your fan base even at a smaller level.
Yeah.
Just not near as fast as having massive promotion and having a team of people to take care of everything for you.
Do you want to crack open this next one?
Yes, I do.
I want to get the taste out of that.
Yeah, that was unpleasant. So you want one? Yeah, jump down there and grab one. Well, this one definitely looks quite a bit different than the other one.
It looks more promising.
And it is definitely hazy compared to the last one. This is a Trail Pass Hazy IPA
It straight up smells like a nug.
in a beer from Sierra Nevada. Oh, Lord.
It smells like a nug.
I'm going to have to watch this one. If this one tastes anything like it smells, I might not be going to work.
We need to get you some eye drops on one.
Oh, my goodness. Buddy,
I think this is way better, but it's still not as good as the Athletic.
that is a mouthful of pine.
Yeah, that is piney.
Wow. Wow, that is piney.
That's interesting.
There is a citrus rind on the front. Okay, well, let's get a little more descriptive. A very over-ripened citrus pine, or rind, I'm sorry, on the front. And then the pine just overwhelms it. Whew.
That one's interesting.
I'd say out of the two, I'm going to have to lean for the hazy.
Yeah.
Of those two,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to go with the hazy over this one. So I'll go ahead and move you back. But I'm going to have to say Athletic. I'm going to give this one a chance.
See how you feel at the end of the glass.
Yeah. If you would like, I might split one more with you
Yeah, of course.
and give it a chance, or maybe we can jump in, finish them off, whatever.
Yeah, you can have as many as you want.
I think we'll eventually head back to that, I
100%.
believe.
It's not bad, but it's interesting. It's interesting having I don't necessarily ever taste test do comparisons. So it's weird because I can easily imagine a scenario where this is the first one I drink and I'm like, oh yeah, that's great, and I have that for the rest of the night. but having it in comparison.
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
well, what I like to do is I like to find anything that's new, especially from a brewery that I already know.
yeah.
And say they do hazy IPAs and have forever, but then they're offering a filtered IPA. Oh, I'm definitely going to give it a shot. And I'll go back in my notes on my phone and I'll compare their hazy IPA to their filtered IPA. And then I'll see which one I like the best. But one thing I really love about bars, tap rooms, and restaurants is you can ask for a sample of a beer, or you can do a flight.
I love flights.
And when flights first came around, I thought, this is stupid. Why am I paying for 5 different beers? And then I realized this is actually awesome.
It's great. I love getting a flight.
I can either pick 5 different beers, or I can say, okay, if you go to the right location, you can say, this is what I drink, but I'm willing to try anything you got. And they'll say, okay, we'll start from lightest to darkest, or lightest to heaviest. And we'll let you sample it, do what you do, and then pick one. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Oh, this is genius.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that you people are going to make me sit here and drink beer. Golly.
What's your favorite type? Or do you prefer IPA overall?
I'm a seasonal beer drinker.
Yeah.
I like to drink beers that either remind me of certain things, certain seasons, or, you know, if a good Pilsner is available and it's the middle of winter, I'll check it out. I'll try it. And even though I may be out in the snow, which is rare in Nashville, but if I'm out in the snow, you know, having fun with my dog, building a snowman, sledding, whatever I'm doing, I'll give that Pilsner a shot. But I'll keep in mind, this is not a winter beer.
Yeah.
Let this beer tell you what this beer is supposed to be. So I let the beer do the talking.
Takes you on a little journey.
Yeah. Just like music.
Yeah.
So I let.
Is that what made you want to bring these two together?
Actually, craft beer and music, to me, have so much in common.
Yeah, they really go hand in hand.
For example, this beer, to even be a non-alcoholic IPA, it should have certain characteristics. Okay. Any IPA you go out there and get is going to it's going to start from the same base. But the difference is each brewery is going to put their own spin on it to make it their IPA. Music, to fit in a certain genre, has to have a certain base, has to have a certain style of writing, has to have certain instruments in the song. But each artist is going to put their own spin on that song to make it theirs.
Interesting.
So even though you might play alt rock or alt country, this band that's going to show up on stage behind you that plays alt rock and or alt country, it's going to have a little bit different spin to make it their own. Craft beer, to me, is the same way.
Oh, that's cool.
So why not talk about craft beer and indie music at the same time? Now, if I could get paid, I could get paid to do this, man, this would be the dream job, you know. But well, maybe someday. But yeah. But right now, you know, as long as I'm having fun, you're having fun, we're drinking beer, and I mean,
it could be much worse.
Yeah, it could be. Could be, but something I really enjoy is barrel-aged beers.
See, I I appreciate that you like them.
But it's not your thing.
It's not my thing because, well, for one, whiskey is not my thing at all. I don't know, like, my body, like, rejects it. Like, even if I smell whiskey, I'm like, so if, like, a barrel-aged, if it has, like, a hint of whiskey on it,
Oh,
I'm
and
like,
yeah.
it makes my skin crawl. I don't know what it is.
I enjoy the barrel-aged stouts. The only problem is the ABV is so high in a majority of the ones that I've tried. And it's just, and why they come in such big bottles?
They're
it's like why
they're
you're
hefty.
doing oh and
it's one and you feel like that you've eaten a whole sandwich or something.
Well, and then they are filling, but at the same time it's that ABV.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, it sneaks up on me the same way bourbon sneaks up on me. It's like when you start feeling that little buzz, it's like, oh, I can have another one. Mm-hmm. I can have another 8 ounce of, whatever. No, sit there. Give it a minute. Because it's just warming up.
it's coming around the corner. Don't worry.
It is just warming up. The ABV on this is 14. So you've been drinking 7s and 7.2s all night. You're going to end the night with an 8 ounce 14.
Yeah.
Make sure that's the last one you drink.
That's the nightcap.
Yeah. I've had to learn that the hard way a few times, but I did learn my lesson.
As long as you learned your lesson.
Yeah. So I enjoy barrel-aged season. I just have to enjoy it in moderation.
Treat.
Yeah, exactly. Treat. It's like Christmas.
I like a little bit of everything. I'm way pickier about stouts and porters, but there are some that I really do like. But when it comes to like IPAs and pilsners and stuff, I could drink pretty much whatever. Those are my go-tos usually, or any type of like I really like sours too. I know that those are like really divisive, but I'm a big fan of sours.
I have had a sour that it came on almost like a sweet tart, but it didn't bring the sweet.
Yeah.
It brought just enough sweet to mellow the sour completely out.
Oh, okay.
And the sour the reason I compared it to a sweet tart is that it just came on just a little sour. Uh-huh. And then it just kind of went away. But if you sit there and think about it, you can still get the sour notes, but it's not that pop in the mouth.
Oh, interesting. Nice.
Sour that just...
Do you remember where this was from?
No, I do not. And of course I wouldn't. But it was, it was a local brewery that did it. But it was a really good beer. So if you like sours, do you like Barrique?
Okay. I've not had any of their beers yet.
Really?
I haven't.
Oh, that could be a problem for you.
Oh no, I'm kicked off the podcast.
Well, no, I'm saying it could be a problem for you once you have.
Oh
their
no, yeah,
sours.
I can't stop.
Well, the way they age their sours and certain beers are a limited run due to they only have a certain amount of barrels.
Oh,
for this particular run.
Cool.
So it's going to be a limited run on those beers, and if you like it, you better grab what's there.
Yeah.
Because if you go home and think about it a day or two and come back, it's not going to be there.
Damn.
That happens to me. So if I taste something I like, I need to pick up what they got while I'm there, or if I'm somewhere else and I taste it, pick up what they got.
That's cool.
Because one of the beer stores I shop at, several times they've had Barrique in there, and it's been a limited supply, at least what's out front. And I've picked up some beer, taking it home. A week or so later, I come back up there. Of course, it's gone.
Yeah.
And he says, "Nope, that was it. That's all I'm getting for this year."
Oh, man.
I was, well, of course, I like it. If I didn't like it, it'd still be sitting on the shelf. But I mean, it is what it is. You live and learn, right?
Amen. Spilling it all over myself.
Well, that's all right. No judgment here.
No judgment here. Oh.
So what else is happening in the indie scene in Nashville that consumers like me don't know about?
Yeah, there's always something happening. House shows are the big one. Because they're getting, even since the 2 years ago that I moved here, like just the quality and everything has really improved, and a lot of these places have really gotten it down to like an art of like quick turnaround time, so you don't have to be waiting around to see all these bands and stuff, because like I said, sometimes there can be like 10 to 12 people on a bill, and so you can be there for quite some time. But everyone's just out there making really cool, fun stuff. Did you get to do anything for Record Store Day?
No, I was at work.
Oh man, I'm sorry. No, yeah, Record Store Day was a lot of fun. There's this really cool band called Massey 99. They're like this girl trio. It's kind of like Riot Girl, but with like this fun early 2000s lens put on it. They're a really fun band, and they've been playing a lot of shows recently, and I definitely recommend you check them out. I'm really excited for what's it called? What's the park thing? What do they do in the park?
Oh,
Musician's Corner.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and that's coming up.
Yeah, that's coming up soon. Sewing Club is in it this year. They just announced the lineup for the summer. Sewing Club's another great one. Me, Sewing Club, and Massey 99 all work with the same producer. And Sewing Club is one of the first bands I came across when I moved here, and they're sick. They would be really good. Both of them would be really good guests to have on here. Jared Corder at Polychrome Ranch. Hi, Jared. That's my producer. He's awesome. He's been doing a lot of the indie scene in town, actually. We've all kind of flocked to him.
Well, then I guess he knows what he's doing.
He does. He's fantastic, and he's super easy to work with, and he seems to know how to mold his own work style to whichever artist he's working with. Like for me, I really like to get things done very quickly, and I'm not like I want the song to sound good, of course, but like I work very fast, and I don't want to spend 2 hours trying to make sure that the mic on the kick drum is just absolutely perfect. If it sounds good, it sounds good. And he really respects that, and I think he's also relieved that I like to work quick. And so we'll just be in the studio for maybe 6-7 hours, kind of like in this fun creative race to finish the song, because we're trying out these different things back to back constantly. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but by the end of the day, we've always ended up with something finished, and that's a lot of fun. It's like this weird, we have like a really good back and forth, I think. And he's the first and the only producer I've worked with since moving here. And I think it's one of those serendipitous things where it feels kind of ordained by the universe or something, because it just works so well, and I found him so quickly that it was just is just one of those cool things about moving here that felt like the right place at the right time. And so, yeah, I'm just excited to make more stuff with him.
So finding the right producer helps you put out music faster.
No, definitely not faster, because there are a few songs on Spotify that me and my husband Derek, right there off in the corner that you can't see him, we've done ourselves. So I can do it myself, and it would be faster if I did it myself. But Jared is really good at getting the specific sounds that like I'm looking for, and working with him helps me be more creative too, and trying things that maybe I wouldn't necessarily try if I wasn't in this different space outside of my apartment, because having a completely different separate space to record and work into, I think is just, at least for me, it's really important and helpful. I've recorded plenty of stuff on my own in my apartment, and I'm still happy with how it sounds, but I really like just collaborating with him and working with him and seeing what we can think of together.
So the Polychrome Ranch is a space that is positive for writing, production, just collaborating with musicians, other creatives.
Yeah, it's a really just awesome. It's also outside of the city. It's an hour away in Hartsville, but it's tucked back in the sticks, and he and his wife Kristen have kind of made like this little animal sanctuary type deal, and so there's like all this nature around you, you're in the mountains and all these animals and everything. I'm starting to sound like a cult. It's not a cult.
Well, no, it's actually very popular. I've heard other artists, bigger name artists, people talk about it.
Yeah.
And say how unique it is, because they've been recording music and you hear animal sounds from outside the studio, and how we're going to leave it and see if it works, see how it sounds. And sometimes it's like, that actually works.
There's maybe like 2 or 3 songs that we've done there. If you listen really closely, you can probably hear my dog somewhere in the background. And maybe in every song. Rhodey might be at least in every song, at least a smidge once. So
does he get a co-write when
when
you go
we
big?
Pay him in bones.
Right.
He's my manager too.
Your road manager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how I'm not liking this one.
No.
Athletic it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sierra Nevada.
I love Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, they just, as far as these, I'm not going to go back to these. So sorry about that, Sierra Nevada. Just
you want to crack open another Athletic?
Yeah, I do. These are not working for me. Thank you. So what do you do when you're not making music?
I'm either playing video games. I like to run and work out a lot. I just like to be active. Hiking. I'm a really big movie fan, so I love going to the Belcourt and catching movies. Once I'm done with this half marathon, my answer will be going to breweries, because it's just really tempting going to breweries now. And like, even though they do have non-alcoholic options, I want to try their own stuff. Like, a lot of breweries do have Athletic or Trailblazer available, but I want to try their own product. And so it can be a little bit tempting. And so I don't want to go out if I can't actually try the actual thing.
That would be difficult to go to a brewery and see a brewery only available beer
Yeah.
and not try it,
Yeah.
especially if it's a style that you enjoy.
Because I really, like you said, like, I do love flights too. And it's not like they have flights for non-alcoholic beers.
Yeah, and even if they did, honestly,
We have one right here.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
one that
Yeah.
I'm like down for.
Well, maybe next time, right?
Maybe
well,
next time.
next time you won't be doing NA
Next
beers,
time
so.
I can actually, have my pick of the litter.
Well, I think next time we should do maybe brewery only available beers.
Oh, that'd be cool.
You bring some beers from a certain brewery, and I would bring some beers from a different brewery. And we could do those.
There we go.
That would be a lot of fun.
I would like that a lot, actually.
And that would counteract this. Well, I'm glad I've got to experience that and know that I'll
Now you know
never do it
Athletic's
again.
good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm trying to give it a chance. I
Yeah.
really am, but
In terms of a non-alcoholic beer, it's drinkable.
yeah. Yeah, and honestly, when it comes to NA beers, that's all I'm looking for is something that is passable, really. I'm not looking for certain things because you just can't get certain flavors or textures out of a NA beer
Yeah.
that you can out of a 4%, a 6%, a 7%, a 9%. There's certain flavors and textures that you're not going to get.
No.
So
It's always just a matter of, like, close enough.
yeah, and honestly, Athletic is close enough. Sierra Nevada, I'm not sure what you're close to, but it won't be my lips, that's for sure. So back to the zoo. I think y'all should do brew at the zoo.
I want to do brew
I
at
think
the
you
zoo.
should do it every time it comes to town.
Yeah.
Period.
No, that sounds awesome. Like
It's,
beer festival plus zoo animals.
I mean, it's beer, it's music, it's more beer.
Hell
There's
yeah.
animals. There's some beer and animals. I'm telling you, it's just,
It's a little slice of heaven.
yeah, it is. And it's just, you move at your own pace. I mean, you can run around this place and try everything, or you can just, I'm going to hang over here and
Yeah.
hang with the rhinos and got a couple of beer tents behind me. I'm cool right here.
And it's just like you buy like a ticket, right? And then it's like all the beers like included, or
Yeah, I like to get the VIP passes because that lets you in an hour early.
yeah.
And you can make a quick pass, see what tents are there. Usually they tell you what breweries are going to be there beforehand.
Uh-huh.
And that way you can go in and game plan so that when everybody else comes in, you've already tried the breweries that you've never tried before. And you either know that you're going to go back to them, or you can say, you know what, I'm going to pass on these two here. But in this area, I enjoy this brewery. So when I'm back around this way, I'll just go ahead and stop at the brewery I know and love.
Okay.
And, I'll pass on standing in line at these other two
Yeah.
tents. And that way you get to see more animals and do more things.
Sick.
Yeah, like I've never enjoyed spiders ever in my life
I have arachnophobia. I'm like, oh.
until I'm watching spiders with a beer in my hand. Then it makes it more fun.
Yeah.
And you know that spider is not going to jump on your face
Yeah.
and drill a hole through your skull because it can't get out of its enclosure. I have to tell myself
Got
that.
5 inches of thick glass.
Yeah, when I see, where is this spider? And all of a sudden the thing is just right there looking at me, and it's about the size of 2 of my hands. And the only reason I noticed it's because it moved one leg, and I'm just, oh, God.
You're jump scaring yourself.
Yeah. Don't make me spill my beer because I'll have to go back out there and stand in
That'll
the
be a
line.
whole thing.
Golly, spider. But I think you would enjoy it.
No, it sounds perfect.
Plus the live music.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always music there. So that's something else to enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's usually pretty freaking hot. But imagine now.
Beer. You got beer.
Yeah. So you have beer, you have animals, and beer and animals and music. So why not?
Oh, yeah. Smorgasbord of activity.
What would be the perfect day for you?
Oh, God. Perfect day. A pancake breakfast. And maybe just like a solid, 3-4 mile run. Finish around 10:30. Have an ice cold beer mosa as my post run drink. Clean up, walk to the Bell Court, see a matinee movie, maybe go to the park for lunch, and probably for the evening, maybe just spend a few hours at a brewery, right when the sun's going down and it's kind of hot, but there's a really good gentle breeze happening.
Right.
That's just it sounds very simple, but that's what to me, simplicity is what makes a really good day. Nothing super crazy happens, but you get to do your full routine of things that you really enjoy, and it's just nice.
So explain to the listener what a beer mosa is.
It's beer and orange juice, half and half. Not half and half. Half beer, half orange juice. And it's incredible. Especially during COVID is when me and my husband started drinking these, because there was nothing to do or go to. So we hadn't moved here yet. So we would just go to the state park and go on these huge 7-8 mile hikes sometimes, and we would come back and just after sweating and being in the heat all day, having just an ice cold either a Pilsner or an IPA with a splash of orange juice in it just really hit the spot.
I've had them before where it's a fairly decent sized glass and the orange juice is in it, and they serve it to you. Here's the bottle, here's the orange juice. But when they put it down, they just go ahead and turn the bottle up into it.
Oh, yeah?
Leave it and walk away. And you pretty much got to get right to it.
No, I don't like that.
And I mean, I'm not going to sit there and have several of them, but it's not quite noon yet, and I don't really want to hit it that hard. So
it's a very leisurely drink for me. I like to just sit back and just listen to some music and let the sun hit me and just sip on that for a good hour, maybe.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Genuinely everything. My all-time favorite is Bjork, but right now I've been on a really big kick of listening to film scores that I'm really into, or some days I can be in a really big yeehaw mood and I'll be listening to Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty, but then I open up the grunge closet and I'll be listening to Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, and stuff like that. And it's, I just love music of all kinds. It just really depends on what mood I'm feeling during the day.
Well, do you think that helps in your writing and your creation of music to enjoy so many different genres?
Oh, definitely. It's just like everything's so great. Why just pick one?
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
I met Toy Dinosaur at a, not a bar, it's a tap room.
Okay.
And we got to talking over beers. And next thing I know, and it was pretty much just like what we're doing.
Yeah.
I started asking questions, and answers led to more questions, and the beer kept flowing, and the conversation got more loose. And that was what really set me off, because I had done that 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to these places and you would hear people talking about music, and I wouldn't be rude about it, but I would just, if I could kind of step in.
Yeah.
And then people find out you're genuinely curious about them and about their music, they tend to open up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And with Brian, that's what happened that night. And when I got home, I was like, I literally met that dude right there. And when we parted ways, I felt almost a friendship.
Yeah, Brian's so easy to talk to. Like he's so nice.
And it was like I learned in just that casual conversation, I learned some stuff about music and about genre that I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great loose environment. And we were having good beers.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I could do a show based on this. Now, I don't know how much of a reach it would have, because it is casual conversation, but I'm still learning something.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that tune into a quote interview show, they want to hear certain questions. But I don't want to ask you where you're from.
Yeah.
Because you've answered that question numerous times. Oh, how'd you get into music? You've answered that numerous times. Let's talk about stuff that people don't know about you. You know, what are the 6 presets in your car? You know, what kind of music do you gravitate towards? Genres, subgenres, things like that. So, I mean, it's who are my favorite artists listening to.
Mm-hmm.
In these big time interviews, Garth Brooks, Sting, Tim McGraw, people like that, I've never heard them be asked, who do you listen to?
Yeah.
You know, because they got to listen to somebody.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever asked them that question.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool to know that your favorite big time artist listens to these people over here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I listen to them too. That's
Yeah.
cool. Or, I haven't heard of them. Why don't I check them out? And then all of a sudden you find yourself enjoying a new artist,
Yeah.
or maybe even a new genre of music.
Yeah, 100%.
New stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Bennett, she was I met her at a Toy Dinosaur show, Bennett I.O. And her music, for me, I just watched her entire set just like I was some kind of weirdo. I just locked in because I was like, what is she doing up here? And just the whole thing, I was like, got to check her out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had her on the show and had a great conversation.
Nice.
Had a great time. And she introduced me to a different genre of music that I've done a deep dive into. Again, an endless rabbit hole when you find a new genre of music.
I'm not familiar with her. What is she like?
She does electronic, but she pretty much creates everything.
Okay, cool.
Right there in front of you.
Sweet.
And she does her beats right there in front of you. She alters her voice and she goes back and forth, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it's work.
People who can do that on the fly like that live every time amaze me. It's so cool.
And what I enjoyed about it is her backstory. And she's not from Nashville, how she got here, and how did you find community in Nashville for your style of music? And she said, I found community in just music in general. Doesn't have to be my style or my genre.
Yeah.
There's creatives everywhere that enjoy music and love what you're doing. If maybe they don't, even if they don't understand it, they still love it. And
100%.
that's something that I enjoy about this town. It seems like this town's very forgiving. You know, when it comes to music, when it comes to art, when it comes to movies being made here, television shows being made here, just entertainment.
It's still, at least from my experience, it seems like it still has like, I think maybe like the southernness of it maybe helps because it still kind of has like that laid back attitude in a way.
It does, not near as much as it used to.
That's what I've heard.
It's not the same town I grew up in.
Yeah.
Not even close. And there's no possible way for it to go back.
Just the last 10 years, like the change is crazy because I'm not from here, but I am from Tennessee. So like whenever there was like a really big concert that I'd want to go to or whatever, they would never come to Knoxville, which is still like an hour away from my hometown. So we'd have to take trips to Nashville for concerts we really wanted to see. And it's like a 4-hour drive. And just through the years, I've gotten to see like little breadcrumbs and like peaks of that change. I know it's not like nearly on the same level since I didn't like grow up here or anything, but it's crazy how far it's come in like how it's evolved. I won't say how far it's come because there are some major downsides to it, but like you said, the $1 million duplexes.
Right. Well, I think I try to look at the positives about the growth. And the only positives I can find is the different cultures that are coming here. The mom and pop restaurants. You don't call these new restaurants mom and pop restaurants. They're one-offs. And you have these people who are chefs or ran restaurants or ran delis in New York. Something that is like, for lack of a better term, a MAPCO in Nashville. You know, delis in New York. Well, Nashville, we did not have delis.
Yeah.
You know, it was a sandwich shop.
Yeah.
And it was a very basic sandwich shop. And now there are delis in Nashville.
You can get a New York level bagel here now. Like it's crazy.
And you can get California style food, Chicago, Memphis.
It's really becoming a little melting pot in the middle of the state. It's wild.
Of art, music,
Of everything.
food.
Yeah, everything.
It just, and that's one of the positives, possibly the only positive of the growth, is that you're getting people who move here. I've run into people who retired and moved to Nashville. Now they don't have a job, so they sit around and play drums. Mm-hmm. And they're very good at it.
Yeah.
But they never pursued it as either, a hobby they could do on the weekend, or they never pursued it professionally because they had other things they had to do.
Yeah.
But now that they're free, they sit around and they play and they join house bands for bars and venues and hotels. And you see all these kind of pop-up bands, and you ask them, hey man, but when you put an album out, when you do, oh no, we're not doing that. Mm-hmm. We're just, this is something we do on the weekends just to get out of the house. But they're good.
Yeah.
And I want to come back and see them again. And I do come back, and they're like, we might get a little tip money, and they give us free beer, and we have fun. That's as far as this is ever going to go. Well, if you decide you want to move on, talk to me. Maybe I can help you. Maybe I can set you up with the right person. And no. We're happy where we're at. And it just,
which I do find that really intriguing. And there's probably like a really strange sense of like freedom in that, just being chill to just play.
What do you think the town offers that in abundance?
Yeah, I do. The question, it really just depends to person on like what your goal is. If you want to just, you could easily just make a living, or at least get a good side hustle going by just being a house band or playing covers every night or whatever. Which I've done plenty of cover gigs myself. Sometimes they can be a lot of fun. But it's harder. It's much harder here to actually, I don't know how to word this. There's not nearly as much abundance for original music, I feel like, at least to make a solid, living off of, like, that's a whole other beast. I don't know if that answers your question particularly or not.
It does. It seems a lot of indie artists I've spoke to, both on the mic and off the mic, say that if they can make a living just playing music, that would be good enough. They're not looking to sell at Bridgestone. They're not looking to go on these huge 6-8 month tours with these big bands and buses and trucks and all that fancy stuff. They're like, man, if I could get up and write music and play music and know that all my bills are paid and I can take the fam out to a nice restaurant once a week, once a month, whatever, nothing super crazy. Just have music pay for my life. That seems to be the top for.
And I do agree. I just think so many of us are thinking of that with like our own music in mind, because there are plenty of opportunities to like when you say I could be happy just playing music, if that's all I did. Like, there are like caveats to that too, though. I mean, like, would you be happy if, for say, you were like hired as the main musician at like Margaritaville and all you could play were Jimmy Buffett songs over and over, day in and day out? Would you be happy about that? I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that scenario, which is very attainable, and you can do that. Like, you can like at least have a solid side hustle doing stuff like that. But like, going back to what you said about asking me if somebody paid me to be like, okay, you have to write these certain amount of songs, they have to be about this in this genre, could you do that? Like, yeah, I could do that, but also like, I don't know if I could say I'd be happy doing that, even though technically I'm making a living doing music. I don't think I'd be happy.
Well, no, I understand what you're saying, and you answered that question, as far as I'm concerned, perfectly. You would do it for the money, not for the fun.
Yeah.
So you could sit in a writer's round and create music for other people and get a paycheck. But at the same time, on Friday night, you would want to be at a smaller venue playing your own music with your own group of either a house band or your own band. You know, you would be getting the best of both worlds. A paycheck for creating music and then creating music.
Yeah.
And that a lot of artists have given me that same answer. And that I understand it at this point, but the first few times I heard that, completely blew my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, but dude, I'm offering you to live your dream. What is your dream, man? Go big or go home. And I mean, big for them was, hey, if I could just do that, that'd be my dream. And that's attainable.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. You're not shooting for the moon knowing that that is not possible, but it'd be cool to do. Well, anything's possible. But there again, you also need to dream about something that's attainable. You know, I mean, I understand go big or go home, but what's big? Everybody has a different definition of the top of the mountain, or, you know, I've succeeded when this happens. And then there are people, it's like, well, I've succeeded so far when this happens. But this next thing has to happen for me to feel successful.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's good, but are these steps attainable? Can you really see these things happening? Or are you just dreaming that, you know, what are you doing to get to the next step?
Yeah. Because you have to always be at least moving or like trying to make this stuff happen. Because it's so easy to get into like this trap of thinking just like, oh, if it's my time, it'll come along. Like, no, you have to like, it's a grind. It's a hustle, but you can have fun doing it. Like, it doesn't have to suck. Like, there's fun in the hustle of it too.
Well, there has to be, otherwise why do it?
Yeah. I mean, there's some people that will like, I mean, I used to be like this personally, that would just like drive themselves insane and be like thinking like, oh, like some suffering artist trying to get my stuff out there and I'm just, oh, woe is me. And in the past year and a half or something, I've really done a 180 on that and thankfully have seen. And I think being in Nashville has helped too, because I mean, even though there is such huge competition everywhere, it's just nice to know that you're part of the pond sometimes.
Yeah.
Even if you aren't the big fish, like it's nice to just be swimming around.
Right.
So, yeah, and also it helps too now that I have I've finally achieved a really nice, work-life balance that I've never had in my life before. I get to write about video games as my day job now. It's not like that's a bad gig, especially for me when I love video games, and I work from home, and I get to have I've just had in the past year and a half, I've just felt really lucky to finally have a sense of balance and peace, and it's made me realize that, I mean, I'm never going to stop making music, but I have a different sense of security that I've never felt before, and I just feel really good whether or not my music pops off or what.
Okay. Well, what do you have coming up, or what have you been working on recently that no one knows about yet?
Oh yeah. I have a few singles lined up for the year. I have one coming out on April 25th. And what's the next one? It comes out in June, Mr. Calendar Man.
I believe it's
It might be June 8th. We'll wait around and see.
6.
June 6th. It's June 6th. And on August 30th, I will be having my first album coming out, which I'm very excited about. It's going to be a compilation of a lot of the songs that I've already released on Spotify, and there's going to be a handful of new ones on there too that I'm really excited to show everybody.
Was there going to be an album release party?
Oh yeah, there is.
Okay.
Also on August 30th at the 31st. Look up. I think it's 30th. Saturday. August 30th at the basement.
All right. Well, who's going to be along with you on that? Or is it all still hush hush until?
It's going to still be hush hush. We're gonna wait to announce everybody.
Okay, that's fair. I don't want to dig too deep, but at the same time, I would enjoy being there. I'm sure it's going to be
You're invited.
I appreciate
officially.
I appreciate it. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute blast.
I'm excited for it.
Are you nervous about it?
Yeah.
What are you nervous about?
I don't know. I sometimes it's the shows that I hype up and get super excited for, where I don't know if it's just because I psych myself out or what. It's just those are the ones I always mess up the most on stage.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect, but I want to be, Chris.
Well,
At least
I understand.
for 30 minutes.
Everybody wants to be. I would love to release the perfect podcast that has no mistakes in it and that
I would like
asks
to
the perfect questions. But you know what? I'm content with, hey, if I get enough time and enough content to put out the hour and a half segments, and it's good, solid content.
Yeah.
It's not just stupid stuff. I've succeeded.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I mean, again, as long as I'm having fun, you're having fun, and we still got good beer, it's a win for me.
Yeah. There's always just something so as excited as you are, there's always something so nerve-wracking about taking something that you've put so much effort and time into, and then you're just letting it off and be free to you're handing it off to the public and be like, here's my baby.
Well, if you make a mistake on stage, how do you move past it? How do you deal with that?
I just push through. I usually don't address it, and I just act like nothing happened. And usually people don't realize something happened. So.
It's not rock and roll if there's no mistakes.
Yeah, Derek just said it's not rock and roll if there's no mistakes. So there we go.
Well,
The replacements.
well, it is true. How many bands can seriously get up there and put on the perfect performance every time without messing up?
One thing that like frustrates me and I don't understand, it's so annoying, is when the song that you've written, like, why did I mess up the lyrics that I wrote? Like, it's so stupid.
But it happens.
It happens. It's just, it's just so frustrating because it's just like, I wrote the damn thing. Like, why am I messing up?
Well, you might be nervous.
Yeah.
Or you might be getting ahead of yourself in singing the song.
Granted, I usually actually don't get stage fright or anything. I usually just get like a bunch of adrenaline. Like, I hate waiting for my turn on the bill because like as soon as I get there and we get everything set up and ready and sound checked, I'm just like ready to go. And like it may be like 2 hours before you play, and I'm like, I'm ready. Just let me out of the cage. I'm ready to go. Just put me up there. And maybe it's like the adrenaline. Maybe I'm too excited, and I flub up sometimes.
Can you be too excited to play your own music?
Maybe I'm excited just the right amount.
Well, no.
Because I always do get really excited for shows.
Well, you should. You're getting up there to perform your art for either your fans or your future fans. So you should be excited.
Yeah.
You should be overly excited.
Like those 30 to 40 minutes are like always just like peak existence. I love to perform. It's just sometimes it's like, get the words right, please. Granted, it doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, it sticks with me.
What is your ideal length of time to perform? If you had no constraints on time, what would be the ideal amount of time for you?
Maybe an hour and a half. I think it's solid because the particular band I have, we really like to jam together at practice. And so it can be really hard to get in the groove of a fun jam when you're constrained to like 30 to 45 minutes. So I would like to be able to be a little bit more free and loosey-goosey with the songs sometimes. And then also, I don't think an hour and a half is too long to the point where everyone's getting tired.
Well, yeah. As long as music keeps flowing and your music not being labeled with a genre, there's always something different if you're looking for it.
Mm-hmm. And I do think I gravitate towards, I think that's what's like influenced me through the years, because I do gravitate towards musicians and artists that have usually each album ends up being very different each time they make something new, because like one of my all-time favorite artists is Bjork, and although she has like this through line sound that connects everything, every album is very different. And like I love Radiohead. One of my favorite bands is Gorillaz. I love Trent Reznor's stuff. It's just, I like people who aren't afraid to experiment for the sake of finding out what could be on the other side of that. And I think that's, even though I don't particularly, I wouldn't say I sound like any of my influences, but I think there's that general approach that I share with them, I think, that keeps me from falling into any particular label.
Do you think those bands would enjoy your music?
I don't think Bjork would enjoy my music because Bjork does not like guitars. She's been quoted many times saying she hates guitars.
Okay, well, that's fair. How do you hate an instrument?
I don't know. She thinks it's boring.
Has she not heard rock music?
She's not really a rock fan.
I mean, it's she doesn't have to be a fan, but
I've just read interviews in the past of her saying that she just does not like guitars, which is so funny because that's like half of music.
And guitars are so different. It's
very versatile.
It's not like it's a tuba.
No.
And no offense to tubas, I'm just saying that.
You can get so much out of a guitar.
And there's, okay, hey, you know what? I mean, hey, live your life. It's just part of life you're missing out on. I'm sorry. And that's my opinion. You're missing out. But, you know, hey, I can't think of an instrument I just dislike completely.
I can.
What?
The ukulele.
Really?
I don't like the ukulele.
Just period. Never.
I'm not a fan. And I can't really... What? I like one ukulele. Who? Oh, Garrett Devon. Yeah, I actually have a friend who plays ukulele. Garrett, I love you. You're a great ukuleleist because you play it different. He does. Usually I don't like... I don't... Like, it all just sounds so much of it sounds very the same to me. And so...
Commercial.
A little bit.
I guess, but it's still...
And I wish it could at least sound a little sad.
I bet you there's someone that plays a sad ukulele.
And I think that's why I like Garrett, how he plays it, my friend, because it kind of sounds, the way he plays it kind of sounds more like a sad banjo, I would say. He's one of the few people I've seen that can make a ukulele sound melancholy, and I like that. I feel like maybe just the ukulele hasn't been utilized in the way it can be.
Well, it's an instrument. It's like craft beer.
Yeah.
It depends on who's making it.
Yeah. Garrett's a good brewer.
You should...
He's my preferred brewer.
Yeah, you should text him
I will.
whenever we
I'm going
leave.
to. I think he'll really appreciate this, actually.
Well, that's interesting. That's actually something I'm going to think about. Is there an instrument that I just
You don't like?
don't like?
Mm-hmm.
That is very difficult to even think about.
Yeah.
Now, there are certain instruments that should not be in certain songs, but then again,
But sometimes, like, a surprise instrument in a song you wouldn't expect is really awesome.
like a cello in a hard rock song.
I love that mixture.
For me, that is just, if you can make that work, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
If you told me this song you're fixing to play is a combination hard rock and cello, I'm already a fan.
I really
before
love
it even
contrasts.
starts.
Like,
Yeah.
if you can make contrast work,
Yeah.
that's really fun. Like, there's are you familiar with Grimes? She makes like really like techno stuff. But her latest album, I think it was like 2021 or something, but it's like this techno pop song, but near the end, like this, like a banjo comes in and you would not expect it, but it's like not in a hokey way. It's handled in like it's handled in the perfect way. And it actually adds like this layer of sadness to it that you would not expect from a banjo, but it's a techno pop song.
Well, even a harmonica can be sad if it's utilized properly.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would do that to a harmonica, but it is possible.
The blues, baby.
I mean, okay, there's a difference in the blues. Well, no. I guess the blues are called the blues,
The blues is
for
the
a
blues.
reason. Yeah. Okay, well, I didn't really think of it like that, but I guess you...
I'll take this one. This one's better. What's the best concert you've ever seen?
Oh my gosh. I don't think there's been an individual artist concert that...
So I take it you've probably seen a lot.
Yeah. Johnny Swim live on the green.
Okay.
However many years back that was. And I don't remember how long it's been, but I love live on the green, period. But that show absolutely blew me away. Mm-hmm. So much better than I expected. The outfits they wore, the lighting, the way the light moved. I mean, it was, for the event, it was very well produced. Mm-hmm. And I had an absolute blast. And I'm pretty sure every single person in the crowd had equally as much fun as I did. And I already really enjoyed their music. And that show just put me over the top.
Oh, nice.
And it just made me respect them as a band and as a couple and creating the art that they create. And it just... I had a hard time sleeping when I went home that night because I was so pumped by, I mean, and just the way, I mean, the stage being set up the way it was and the crowd all being, you know, right there and just kind of jammed up against the stage because there wasn't that much room, and the number of people and the music bouncing off all the buildings, mm-hmm. and the crowd singing the music back. And so you had the crowd's music bouncing back this way. You had the band's music bouncing this direction. And it's just like you were surrounded by music and lights and positive energy, and just the whole vibe was just... super energetic. And by the time I got home, I was just like, wow, why'd that have to be the last part of the show? Because now I'm going to have to let it... And it took a long time for me to come down because I didn't expect that. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, is because I got more than I expected. Mm-hmm. And I think any artist that gives more than you expect, even if you don't like their music per se or like them, you ought to at least respect them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they over-delivered.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes a successful artist, be it music, print, writing stories, just art in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you over-deliver every time you deliver.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you win people over.
Yeah. Like you just go out there and you got to give it your all. Because, I mean, like, it's such a short span of time, but it's like, there's only one of these moments. Like, yeah, there's going to be another show, but, like, this is your chance in this moment to, like, really get people with what you've made.
Do you give 110% at every show?
I like to believe I do. I know sometimes maybe I'm, tired or what, but like I said earlier, it's like I always tell myself every show is like, okay, it's a chance to just win one person over. Like if I challenge myself before every show, then I'm just ready to go. Like in like the adrenaline leading up to it, I just want to play. I just want to be up on stage for that 30 minutes. And so I always feel super comfortable once I'm up there. And so when I'm playing, I feel as though I'm giving all that I can with with what I have at my disposal.
Well, I think a true fan is going to know that you're giving 110%. Mm-hmm. Even if maybe you feel like it's not translating, it is. Mm-hmm. And if you're over delivering, you're doing your job and then some.
Yeah.
You're taking that consumer out of their day-to-day life for however long you're up on stage. Mm-hmm. So I think you've done your job at that point.
Yeah.
So over-delivering is key to...
That can be your first round of
live music.
Like your first round of merch shirts. Over-delivering is key.
Well, maybe you should put that on one of your merch shirts.
Yeah.
Put that on the back right up here.
Over-delivering is key.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Or maybe you should write a short story about it.
Now you've challenged me. And so now I'm going to come back. We're going to come back a year from now, okay? And I'm going to have at least 3 short stories.
Okay.
Ready for you.
1 year.
1 year. See?
Oh, okay. Okay. No, I'm straight holding you to it.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about those short stories. And if I get a little preview beforehand, I'll probably have a million questions. Okay. So be prepared.
I love a challenge. I need a challenge.
I'm bringing plenty of beer for that one. So
and I'll be able to drink beer.
It could get a little crazy in here. So, yeah, I am putting that on my calendar as soon as I get 3 short stories.
3 short stories.
In their entirety.
Watch out 2026.
With explanation. I am definitely on board. All right, and we're getting towards the end of this awesome conversation, and I like to cap off my interview / conversation with asking the artist, what are 2 questions you've never been asked in an interview that you wish someone would ask you, and what are the answers to that question?
I've been able to think of one, and hopefully by the time I get through with this answer, I'll have thought of the second one. The first one is, what other avenue of art would you like to pursue if you weren't pursuing what you're doing now? And the answer is making movies. I'm a big movie buff, and growing up, music and movies have always kind of melted together for me. Like you said, when you listen to music, you have to make like a music video in your brain. I kind of do the same thing, except I think of more of like theoretical like movie scenes or something that a song could be good in, which I guess could also be considered a music video. But I feel like my movie taste growing up also helped draw me to the specific types of music that I do listen to, or like just showing how movies show how much power and influence music can have over a mood or tone or anything like that. Because if you have a specific movie scene and you like this famous, like a famous movie scene, like the end of Reservoir Dogs, if you picked any different song for that scene and stuck in the middle with you, it would be like it would be a completely different vibe. So just music and movies go hand in hand, and I would love to do both in some capacity. I don't know what that would look like, but like if I could do movies and music together or in any type of capacity, I would do that in a heartbeat. And I mean, I love writing stories and stuff, so maybe that can turn into a script down the road. Who knows? I like storytelling, whether it be through music or movies or video games or books. Just I like when people get to create worlds and things that weren't there before. And so I'm just drawn to all types of art, but between all of them, I think music and movies are by far my favorite. And second question. That's a big one. I'm sorry I'm frozen right here, but like...
Well, how are you doing?
How am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm actually doing very good. And I feel very confident in myself this year. And not in a cocky way, just like I feel very at peace this year. And despite all the crazy shit that's happening everywhere, I feel confident and comforted in knowing that I have a great group of people around me and a balance in life right now that just feels very rewarding.
Okay. Well, if anybody wants to find out anything about you, where do they need to go?
Instagram or TikTok. You can find me on both under the same name. It's LB, and then you spell Beistad, Beistad, LB Beistad. And that's pretty much the two that I use the most. I post on YouTube sometimes, but it's mainly Instagram and TikTok.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Two Beers with the Band. But if you've made it this far, you know that there's definitely going to be a second episode. Hopefully more, but definitely one for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, thank you.